if we could give people just a minute to log in, that would be great.
How are we doing, Nina?
Doing good. Hope you're well.
Yep.
So we're only up to 12. So you said you had 20 RSVP, huh?
We had 20 RSVP, so we'll give just a minute. But people can always catch up too if. And we postponed because we only had 2 or 3 RSVPs last time, and then when we put it on Zoom, that seemed like the right thing.
I know the last time you had it, it was a commissioner meeting, so none of the commissioners were able to join. So it's good because I know we have a few that are either represented by their team or should be on.
Which is great. That's why I'm really glad it worked out to reschedule.
Hello, Debbie. I'm on. It's Paula.
Hey, Paula. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Of course. I'm curious to hear all about this. Of course, I'm just driving home from Hamilton polling location. I'll be
I can't imagine what you were doing there.
I'll be able to show my face when I get there, but in the meantime, I'm listening. Thanks. Yeah. Delivering supplies. Okay.
Yeah. Well, anybody who was early was allowed to eat their Halloween candy early, so.
What happens when you buy too early?
That's exactly what Nina said. If you buy too early, you eat it early. It's true.
Okay, cool. Let me go to mute.
I think we're just about to a critical mass here. What do you think, Bob? Should we get started?
I think it's perfect timing.
So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to kick it off with a little explanation of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then Bob will lead the group through a series of questions to explore what the community sees as the future of Mercer County Community College, both in terms of programs and its physical spaces and all the things that we're planning for. So I'll start by saying that Mercer County Community College hasn't really had what I would consider to be a proper facilities master plan for about 20 years. And by that, I mean one that really is inclusive, takes into account a lot of different input from a lot of different constituent groups, one that is both short-term and long-term, even visionary. I suspect, I hope that there will be things that end up on this plan that might be 15, 20 years out, but we want to really think long-term, big picture. Couple of examples of why I thought that this was the right time to do the master plan is that we know we have some work to do on both campuses, and I just didn't want to do the work in a random and haphazard way that could end up costing us time and money later. So for example, our greenhouse on the West Windsor campus is taped together with chewing gum and duct tape. It's in very, very bad shape. We know it needs replacing, and honestly, we probably have the money to do it because it's not going to be a super expensive project. What we don't know is whether we're putting it back in the same spot that it is now, like tear that one down and build it back up, or if there's a better place on campus to put it so we can build it and then tear that one down. Similar situation with the auto shop, and Matt can attest to this. We have been living in the auto shop at the technical school across the street for many years. The technical school has been wonderful hosts, and we're running out of space there, and they don't have any more space to give us. And our students feel somewhat disconnected from the life of the college being across the street. So again, a freestanding auto shop wouldn't be a super expensive thing to build, but I don't want to just plop it somewhere randomly on campus where 5 years later we're like, oh, we should have put a road right there, or we should have put an emergency exit right there, or whatever it was. So that's really important. And then the other thing that I think about a lot is what we're doing at the James Kerney campus in Trenton. There's a lot of vacant property around that campus, and I get quite a few expressions of interest from property owners with property adjacent to the campus, asking if the college is interested in purchasing. Well, first of all, with what money? And second of all, even if we did, how would we afford to renovate it? But that's, there are ways. The truth of the matter is I've been reluctant to do anything because we don't have an overall vision. Should we be expanding this direction or that direction? And to what end? Is it for arts and entertainment in Trenton? Is it for workforce in Trenton? Is it both? So there's just a lot of strategizing that needs to happen on both campuses. I will tell you, I think I can maybe end on this. We're looking at short-term things like where do we put the greenhouse, which we needed to build last week. And I also want to look at long-term things. I mean, one of my dreams, perhaps before I retire in however many years, could we do a capital campaign and build a new performing arts center? The Kelsey Theater is such an important part of the life of the community. And if you know anything about theaters, it is a really sad specimen of a theater. It's not even ADA compliant. It's kind of a mess. So we'll be looking at short and long-term things. So we have had really a great start to this process. Bob and the team at Spiesel has been living with us on our campuses the past month or so, measuring every inch, talking to everyone at the college, surveys, focus groups, reaching out to faculty, staff, students. And we wanted to have some opportunities for community commentary, ideas, and input to this plan, because what Bob plans to do, and he'll correct me if I get any of this wrong, is he's in this big information gathering phase, and he's gathering all this information, and then he and his team will go back and I guess lock themselves in a room somewhere and come up with some suggestions and recommendations for how we can move forward. And then there will be this iterative process where we discuss what we think might work, what we'd like to see a little bit different. So I'm going to try to be quiet now. It's not easy for me, but I'm going to try to be quiet and turn it over to Bob, who's going to lead us through some questions just to think about all the plans that we're trying to make.
Thank you very much, Dr. Preston. And you do such a great sales job. I think we need you to show up to some of our other project interviews. Thank you for the kind words. So I'm going to, I have a presentation, but it's more a matter of just to start talking. As Dr. Preston said, she wants to talk less in this, and so do I, even though we can talk a lot about what's exciting about Mercer County Community College. What's really important here is getting to understand from you all in terms of what's special about Mercer County Community College and what opportunities there are. So if I can start this. So I'm Bob Reed. I'm a principal with Spiesel. Tom Perino, who's our CEO, is on the call as well, and John Wright, another principal with Spiesel, is on the call as well. So they have decades of experience with Mercer, fair to say, Tom?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so for me, I don't have an experience with Mercer, except I've been living and breathing Mercer for the last 2 to 3 months. So I do know a lot now, but what we have is the benefit of a lot of experience from John and Tom through the years, and also a fresh perspective that I bring because of my experience in master planning and not having had experience with Mercer previously. So let me share my screen here. Go. And then let me get my slides from the beginning. Okay, so this is not a faculty discussion meeting, but I have the right meeting here. So the introductions we already did on our side. We understand from looking at who is at the table today. We really appreciate you all showing up today to provide your input. Will make the project much stronger. Something here in terms of what, just a quote from another client in terms of looking at how important it was for to have architects and planners that listen. They didn't necessarily understand that to begin with, but understood it going forward. I think too often folks want to jump into what the solution is. There's a lot of people who consider themselves good problem solvers. There's many fewer that are good problem seekers. So we're in the problem seeking now time in terms of understanding you inside and out, the broad view, and then looking at how do we, as Dr. Preston said, how do we go from there in terms of looking at what are some recommendations that grow out of what make you strong and help you to continue to be strong in the future. So stakeholders, this slide was shown at our interview, and what was great to hear was Dr. Preston and the leadership team at Mercer County agreed, said yes, let's set all these up. So it was a matter of what we find is the more input that we get from stakeholders who are really want to make sure that the project succeeds. We get the best information from folks. We get different perspectives. We get a great opportunity to look at what have we been doing right and where can we go from here, including broader community leadership that you see on that list. So we've been having dozens and dozens of meetings with hundreds of people to understand who Mercer County Community College is and how it serves its community. So that's what we're in the process now in terms of looking at we defined a project mission statement to understand who, what is success for this project. We've been going through and understanding the facilities at both campuses very well, and then going through and looking at needs analysis. And that's part of what we're talking about today. So we refrain from going into solutions or recommendations until we get through all of our great meetings with our stakeholders. And that's, we are nearing the end of it now. And what's great is then there'll be an opportunity for you all to provide comment when we do look at solutions and what's a path forward, so that it's not just a rubber stamp of, okay, we've been doing this work and do you like it or do you not? It's you're going to be integral team members in the project. Just a reminder in terms of Mercer County's, just a snippet out of the vision statement in terms of looking at what we're here for, and understanding that we're here for the community, obviously, and for the students and their role in the community. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Preston, but is this focused more on the James Kerney campus, or should we be talking more broadly overall both campuses?
So, I think it's fine to talk about both. The original, the one we had in person was at the West Windsor campus, and the one that we moved to Zoom had originally been scheduled for James Kerney campus. But I think it's fine to get input on both. I do know that a number of our guests are from the Trenton area, but a number of our guests are more countywide.
Great, thank you.
How is that for a non-answer? It's like, do whatever you want.
It tells me what I need to hear. So actually, I think even the way this question is asked is still consistent with that in terms of you may say, okay, we're architects and planners, and it's a matter of, okay, where do we put this? Where do we put that? understanding what makes from your perspective, what makes Mercer County Community College special, and the campuses, whether it's you can speak about either campus in terms of what is special about it. And the next question is going to be, how do our facilities support that? But to begin with, it's a matter of getting a good understanding, even if it's for me to hear it as a person who's leading the master planning process. But I think it's also very valuable for y'all to hear from each other in terms of what, why is it worth doing this? What is Mercer County Community College doing for us in the county and beyond? So could I ask someone to be the brave first person to talk about what makes Mercer County Community College special?
Hi, this is Sean Jackson with Isles, and I will talk about the impact I know that the campus has on the immediate neighborhood and the residents of the city who benefit from the ready access to the chance for affordable academic advancement. And it's obviously that's your core focus is around, education and training. We have a alternative high school that we run that is located about 3 blocks away from the Kerney campus. And we partner together with your facility there in Trenton, and we send a lot of people your direction for collegiate opportunity. So, and it's great to be able to have an opportunity to say to our students, this is accessible to you, and this is readily doable for kids who so often don't see the opportunities that are out there for them and are kind of constrained by the limitations of what so much of their lives have been, that you offer a real affordable opportunity for them to get started in college education. I will then also say, on the other side of the coin, you're an important player in that neighborhood, and we've worked in this neighborhood for 10 plus years, trying to support local businesses and build affordable housing and uplift the community. And so your presence is a really important anchor. When we talk about economic development writ large, the favorite phrase of most planners and developers is meds and eds. And so, having an educational institution in the core of the city is a really important part about the city's future.
Wonderful, thank you.
I'll follow up on and George Sohan with Greater Trenton, and I'll follow up on Sean's comments. And as always, excellent commentary, Sean. And I do think the meds and eds are really critical, because we have 2 education facilities that are located in downtown, certainly Mercer County Community College and Thomas Edison. But with Thomas Edison, the only students they have that come in are at the nursing school, and it's a bit dislocated from the downtown. And so I do think the opportunity to have students downtown is really critical. Now, there's a couple of different things that go along with that. They tend to be in the immediate area for the most part, and know Trenton better than most. But it's one of those things that I do see it as a great opportunity to try to expand it, create that presence, leverage the resources that it offers, because I do think that it's something that we can do and collectively a much more significant impact, and have a much more significant impact on the city by concentrating in that area and really creating a sense of place where, if you drive through now, and I do a whole bunch of tours with all kinds of people for, throughout the city. But the idea when we drive through, I have to point out and say, this is Mercer County Community College. Now look to the right, look to the left a bit, but it doesn't have that sense of a cohesive campus. And so I do think that we really need to create that sense of place, if you will, and have an energy about it and a vibrancy about it, because it can be a catalyst for a whole lot of other good things that can happen throughout the city, and particularly the downtown.
Fantastic, thank you.
Welcome.
I don't mind jumping in next. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Carey. I'm the superintendent of Mercer County Technical Schools and the Special Services School District. Dr. Preston and I started on the same day, so we always have that in common. That's our claim to fame. But we share a lot with the college, a tremendous amount. Not only did the space, which she mentioned about the auto shop, but I have space over at the college. That's kind of our give and take, as we let them use the auto shop area that we don't use at Assenpink, and then we have a place for our college and career counselor over at the college, because on any given day, we probably have about 200 plus students over at the college taking classes at both campuses, but mainly at the West Windsor campus. So we have a huge vested interest, as they do in us. We really consider them partners in education in Mercer County, because so many of our students obviously go there while they're at our schools, but then in turn, they follow through and continue on to get their associate's degree afterwards, or follow into some programs that they're partnering with now. And then from the special service side, I never want to forget them, is our land. We share really land. Our two campuses connect directly to each other. Half of my staff comes in the main entrance, which is beautiful, by the way, just got it redone, but comes in the main entrance there off of Old Trenton. And then all of our buildings are in the back area there. So we have a lot of security plans that overlap, and we talk to each other if there's going to be construction. And we talk about programs for special needs students, because the campus just started a program last that is appealing to some of our possible graduates as well. So we do a lot on those sides. So our worlds are constantly interweaving, but we're also in the same boat. I inherited a lot of the same things that Dr. Preston did, which was aging facilities and a real need for up-to-date technology and facilities, and even just the small things like parking lots need to be paved and things like that. So I really think that the goal should be a reinvestment in the education, and I'll use this platform, just to kind of stump for myself at the same time, but a reinvestment in the vocational schools as well as the college, to really get with get up to speed, up to date to where we need to be with our facilities, so that we can offer the best programming that we can. Because our enrollment is going up. We have a lot of kids that want to come to our schools. Our adult evening program, which a lot of people don't know much about, is over 300 clients now and growing. So we have a lot of and then a lot of our programs carry into our articulation agreements with the college as well. So there's my pitch. We need a reinvestment, and I really think that Mercer County's heading in the right direction, and I'm just happy to be part of the conversation here. So thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Anyone else would like to share?
I'll join in here and just say I have a commercial real estate firm downtown, and I'm very involved. I'm on the Trenton Parking Authority board and on the Trenton Downtown Association board, and I think a lot of folks that are invested and concerned and cheerleaders, if you will, for downtown, would love to see what colleges often to bring to downtowns happen here. And yet we don't get the feeling of that at all. And, I would have a little bit of that, a similar criticism of even the West Windsor, where there's no banners, I haven't been on the campus in a while, but it always struck me that it just was always kind of blah. And I think it's blah. It's certainly downtown. And I just, I think we need to think in terms of how to make it an addition to the downtown, because I think there is probably a subset of students that want the urban experience, that A, already feel comfortable in it, or B, kind of want to move from their suburban backgrounds and try out the city. And, it could be quite mutually beneficial. And I think that's a combination of programs are offered there, but also how inviting and how well the whole thing works. And Dr. Preston, you and I have talked a little bit about, you already have some unused space that you're trying to brainstorm and figure out. So it is a big challenge, but I think to the extent that you can really prioritize the student involvement on the streets, and, be it, the horticulture students, or the, helping with plantings downtown, or the food related
Mhm.
students having a cafe. Although I think you started that. I think I heard something about that was happening. But the liveliness, we got to transition to that in some way, shape, or form. And be it inviting entryways, inviting banners of what's happening, that sort of thing, and planned for with any facility upgrades would, I think, be beneficial to the city.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you. Who would be next?
Well, someone's deciding they want to join in for a first comment. I'll throw in one added point that from my perspective of just listening to some of this discussion. For our students in our alternative high school, a third of them are couch surfing on a regular basis. They have no regular place to lay their head. And I think this institution could play a really interesting role of trying to create a community opportunity with some type of a housing piece associated with this campus. I know that is, I don't want to say antithetical. I'm sure there are some county colleges someplace that do that, but I know it's not typically been your model. But I think for, as you look at the student population here in the city, and you look at what could be helpful to the city economically and in development, it's how to create, more residential downtown presence. I think these are, two needs that could really come together to have an extra special impact, and to be able to create a community where young people could have ready access to tutoring, their classes, library resources, recreation, a gym or something like that. I think it could really be an unbelievable opportunity to create an environment where students could really get a sense of what that college opportunity is like, and make them want to, when they get through, 2 years, and be able to take this opportunity to go to a Rutgers or a Montclair State or, College of New Jersey. That would give them a real taste of what's out there for them, and provide them with some reliable and safe and secure place to do their studies and to live.
I will just interject that nationally, 27% of community colleges have accommodations. It's just not an idea that's ever caught on in New Jersey, but you find it in both Pennsylvania and in New York. And someone had their hand up, Bob.
Yes, I was just going to call Ms. Abdul Ali.
Hi. So I'm probably coming out of left field entirely. But I'm just going to take the prerogative. I'm a Trenton resident. I actually have a grandson who attends Capital City, the Capital City High School, which I think is what Daylight Twilight is becoming. And I'm just going to throw it out there that I really would love to see Mercer County College, just say to hell with the boxes and the plans and the pathways that other community colleges have gone, and just say, you know what, let's try to actually reinvent what education can look like. I would love to see us apply some of the strategies. I mean, we know how to educate well. The private prep schools, all of the different, all the names of the models are leaving me, but I can't even think of the names of I can't think of the names right now, but there are so many models of 5-star education practices. And there are European models for really extraordinary, exceptional educational practices that we just, we kind of look, it's like our community colleges and maybe even some of our state colleges kind of look at those things and say, oh yeah, that's nice for them. And then keep going down a path that we've gone down that leaves kids kind of struggling in places like Daylight Twilight / Capital City that just don't meet their needs. I watched the other night pieces of the series that MSNBC is running on the different generations. And they talked about whatever this youngest generation is, the kids who are going to be coming out of high school and going into college, and are learning in new ways, were deeply impacted by the pandemic, had to, figure out new ways of learning. Some of those kids that are really doing excellent things said, college? I don't think so. Why would I, incur all of that debt when I can go on the internet and learn anything I want to learn? Why aren't we taking an approach that says, let's teach our kids programming and marketing and coding and 3D, kind of 3D production and design and, things that they don't actually have to go through a college curriculum in order to do those things, but they result in a student body that is 21st century prepared. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but those are the things that are running through my mind. Like, why are we trying to just reheat a strategy for education that is only getting us what we have, and what we have is not sufficient? I mean, if anything shows us that our population is just painfully underprepared to address the current events of the day, is this election. I mean, if we had better educated people, we wouldn't be teetering on fascism right now. And if I'm getting too political, I apologize, but it just frustrates me that we continue to ignore things that we know work, and we reserve those things for people who are well-heeled and wealthy. I mean, it disturbs me that we're doing that. So that's really all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think actually looking at this point in time is the greatest opportunity for, especially community colleges that are the most nimble of, I think, any higher education institution to take advantage of those opportunities. Professor Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. Hi. So I'm one of the majors that's down in Trenton, JKC. And what I can tell you, just to piggyback off of the young lady that was speaking, is that I know that for a fact, I understand what you're saying, and I agree wholeheartedly. But I can tell you right now that being down in Trenton is a beautiful thing for us. Not only because we are like centrally located, but we build partnerships and workforce partnerships because that's where we are. And so it's literally the heartbeat of my program. And so a lot of the people in my major, I'm in arts and communication, that's how our students actually are discovered, because our students will naturally say that they want to be artists, but we want to teach them how to be entrepreneurs. We want to teach them how to brand themselves and how to step into different rooms. But being downtown is such a real life experience. And because my background is CTE, career tech ed, it's even more needed. So I do believe that we feel like our students are underprepared, but in actuality, they're just different. They feel like they can't go to college, but we want to say you can still have different passions, but college is going to allow you to be able to elevate a little quicker, than other situations. But I think that being downtown is such a good advantage. And I do believe that it might need to be re-imaged or redressed in some way, some shape, and some form.
Thank you very much. Any other comments before we talk about facilities?
Yes.
Yes, please.
If I may, I'm Judy Winkler. I'm a Mill Hill resident. Mill Hill is a community right adjacent to the downtown area. I just wanted to, refer to, what Anna Labat had to say of not having a sense of campus. I really don't look at the Kerney campus as an important college or important asset to the community as it is at this point.
when I talk about the community, I mean the only activity that I've seen or that I knew about that was appropriate for me was they've had seminars on artist talks, and I've been to several of those. I do go up to West Windsor for Kelsey Theater, and last week I had lunch by the culinary students, went up there. When I think of a college, even a community college, I really wish there were lectures, by your professors or people in the field, whether it's through a webinar, or actuality. I don't see the interface with the community, if you will. In fact, the only way I found out about this meeting was through Ray Ingram's notice that he started putting out in conjunction with Trenton Council of Civic Associations. So the colleges may be doing things, but it would be fabulous if the community could become aware of those to take advantage of them. Thanks for allowing my participation.
Can I add something? Hi, I'm Roland Pott from Pott Real Estate LLC, and I'd like to echo some of the points made by Sean and Ann. And I serve on the Trenton Downtown Association board with Dr. Perez, and I've been very struck by some of his comments about how the college has been able to create training programs based on the kinds of jobs that are in demand, and how they filled up very quickly. And I think the other professor, Lindsay, just talked about that as well. And I think that would be a great place to start. Livability of downtown is so important to make the downtown feel welcoming. And if the people that are sort of most excited and encouraged by their engagement and participation in the college's programs are the ones that are driven to gain employment through the training that they can get from the college, I really think that that's a great entree and a great starting point. And let's kind of build on their momentum and really welcome the folks that are going after this training and say, hey, you can do more than just get a training. You can also take advantage of being downtown for housing or for art or for activities or events. So my suggestion is, seems like that's really where the strength of the campus is in that catering to that group of motivated people that want training and want to be in the workforce. And so let's embrace them and encourage them to take one more step in engagement with the downtown, not just take their certificate and go work, but take your certificate and then, stay a while and engage around the campus as well.
Thank you. Other comments? Please.
I'm sorry, one final comment I'd like to offer, though, is that I do think this is a great time for the college to think through these issues and how it becomes part of the overall campus of the city, if you will, because there are a number of things that are happening, such as the Broad Street Vision Plan that the county executives do that would really strengthen that the Broad Street corridor all the way from the arena through the college campus, and other residential projects that are already underway between the Van Sciver building and what Dan Brenna of Ajax is doing at the Bell Telephone building, and part of that 600 unit development that he has underway. And so there's a number of things that need to be taken into account, and seeing how the campus fits within the overall thread of the city. And it is such an important element, though, that needs to create its own sense of place, but it needs to fit within the overall campus of the city. And so I do think it's a very opportune time to see what can be done with the college, but also they don't have to do it by themselves, because there are a number of things that are actually happening already. And how do we leverage those together with the college to make it even more impactful?
Wonderful, thank you. Dr. Ashford-Ligon.
Hello, I work specifically at the James Kerney campus for the last year. I've worked in the college for over 20 years, and I purposely wanted to come back downtown Trenton to work, which is where I originated, and I am a Trentonian myself. So some of the things I've heard today definitely have resonated with me, and there definitely still a need, particularly the mention of showcasing, a better showcasing of Kerney campus. So I see the need for the Kerney campus in particular to be a community and life experience extension. We almost need an 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. operation so students can do their breakfast, lunch, or even dinner. We become that safe haven place for students, whether or not they have a particular day or not. They know they can come Monday through Friday to sit there to do their work or to just be at peace. So, and having those community and life experiences, we're not totally equipped, in terms of a bookstore that could be an extension of, buying, an updated laptop or USB, my immediate need drive. And these kinds of things can also be other connections and other draws, the other kinds of services or buildings and operations that are in a downtown area. We no longer have like a Dwyer's, I'm going way old school in terms of, being able to buy book supplies or basic, computer needs, anything in the downtown Trenton area. And so we could fill that kind of void. And there is a disconnect, maybe it's the generation, so we can pull in more of the services, artsy in nature. I'm thinking of Mill Hill Playhouse in particular, and even the museum. I specifically sponsored the availability for students to go see the play Alma that just took place this October at the Mill Hill Playhouse. I could not get a student. And I asked them, a lot of students why. A lot of students right in Trenton had never even been down the street. I mean, it's less than a half a mile, to have that experience. And so not just for Kerney, but maybe that's just a fault of some of the Trenton in terms of bringing those visibilities of what's in these spaces and that you too are welcome. So we want to have better showcase so that there's more signage and different heights and different positions to know that we exist. But there needs to be a community and there needs to be things going on to draw people, not just students, into our door. And so all those things come to mind, but we definitely need to work on being an 8 a.m. to like a 9 p.m. operation to serve the needs of those who may not have those good life experiences, and we become that extension. Whether or not we can go into housing, but might not happen, but those hours of crucial time before they can go find a place to lay their head could still be substantial to their living and to their extension of being better than who they currently are. And we want to help them along on that pathway.
Thank you very much for that input. The respecting everyone's time, and that doesn't mean that we don't continue to have the discussion about what makes the Montgomery County Community College and the JKC campus or the West Windsor campus special, but looking at, we've heard a lot of great ideas in terms of looking at what the JKC specifically could do for, continue to do for Trenton and how it could do more. Could we look at what are some specific ideas in terms of how the facilities could help support future success for the campus? Understand we have touched on some in terms of some of the explanations that people have given already, but are there other things that people could offer in terms of what you've seen from your own perspective that could help us here and for the president to hear what we should do?
I wanted to actually speak to that and picking up with the prior Dr. Legon's comments, and that, you know, my commercial real estate practice in downtown gets me kind of all over the area, but particularly downtown. And Dr. Perez and I kind of tried to go on the avenue of, you know, I represent the people that have Capitol Center and a very nice large food court that really took a beating during COVID. And here I am trying to find tenants to go in there. And I had the bright idea that, well, can't we get an outlet of the Italian People's Bakery that has multiple stores and get them there? And I'm talking to that owner, and he says, I'd be interested, but, you know, I can't get the help. I can't get people to decorate cakes, you know? And so I talked to Dr. Perez, and he was all over it. Like, but we, you know, our culinary students would really be into that. But by the, you know, then I went back to the Italian People's Bakery guy, but as is so typical, frustrating, but we're realist, in Trenton, everything's a struggle. And it just, you know, it wasn't a priority for the actual bakery. But I think still there's something there in the sense that here's a beautiful food court. Now, if somehow or other there was an outpost of the culinary students, or if that became, you know, a section of it became sort of the campus center, or the, you know, what do you call that on campus, where people just gather? Because it's quite lovely. So can the footprint of where you're looking at right now not stop at the buildings that the county college owns? Can it be collaborative? Molly Dykstra is here from 120 East State Street, the former First Presbyterian Church, which is being reinvented. And if their facilities could see collaborations with the college and all of those kind of things, that you would enlarge the college probably with less barriers to making it happen, but get some of the kids comfortable wandering beyond the confines of a classroom or a lecture hall, and then maybe get them to a passage theater performance. But I just think that there's a lot here. It's so expensive to build anything new. And, you know, can we really try hard to look for those opportunities to collaborate rather than doing kind of new bricks and mortar? It just would be healthy all around. And then the superintendent of schools folks they're really trying to make a difference and enlarge what they offer their students at the Capital City High School. And I think that there's a real opportunity there, which I don't want to get ahead of myself because it's still formulating, but, you know, relative to what Sean raised in students needing temporary places to stay, maybe longer term places to stay, but maybe there is some supportive housing that could happen.
Fantastic. Thank you. Other comments?
I'm sorry. Can I speak? Okay. Yeah, just to kind of along the same veins, I would love to see the college explore the development of a maker space where people could come and do their kind of maybe entrepreneurial stuff, but maybe on a teaching level. I'm not sure exactly how this would work, but there are all kinds of ways that people want to work with electronics. Kind of updating, renewing the electronics that they have in their homes, laptops, that kind of thing. Also, I don't know if there's an automotive program anywhere, but maybe even just to teach young people how to do, minor repairs, small repairs on automotives, the bikes that we see rolling the streets that probably are illegal, but they're riding them anyway. But just that would, a space where kids, young people can learn skills, marketable skills that involve, kind of a more sustainable economy for the area. Just a thought.
Great, thank you. Other comments? programs, spaces, collaboration?
A couple of things I'm happy to share in terms of creating that space, thinking lighting, landscaping, streetscaping, traffic calming measures, creating some outdoor seating for dining and things. And then again, how important it is to create that campus feel, so either building facades, colors, treatments, to try to make it feel cohesive. It doesn't have to seem like twins, but it should feel like the same family rather than disparate buildings. Mm-hmm. And then in the be careful what you wish for aspect, parking is going to become a big issue if we start to create a nice density downtown, and particularly during the day. And so it's one that I see the garage, it's parking authority owned garage. And again, if we get very successful here, it seems like we may have some issues as it relates to parking in that immediate area as well. So it seems like there's some nice opportunities, and again, shorter term and longer term.
And we hope we have that problem with the parking problem, right? That
exactly.
Okay. Other comments?
One thing, when I first came to Trenton, Doug Palmer was the mayor, and there was something called the Trenton Arts Connection. And they took the mayor to Providence, Rhode Island, and to Savannah, Georgia, to show how the arts had reinvented those towns. And the Savannah story was very, very interesting because, as I understand it, and I've not been there, there was a married couple that kind of planted a flag in Savannah and said, we're going to build a Savannah College of Art and Design. And they did it by using existing buildings throughout the city, which had the effect of enlivening the whole city and filling the whole city with arts. Now, this is a lot of years ago that they did it, and a lot of years ago that I even heard about it. But there were folks at Mercer County Community College at the time that were totally thrilled by it. They had gone on the trip as well, and they were busy looking at the buildings, like the building on the corner of Broad and Perry, the Trenton Pops building, all of that stuff. Like, how do we make this happen? And I obviously money's always the consideration, but that direction of using what's here and finding the partners is not new, and we can certainly look to where it's been successful.
Yeah, and Savannah is an interesting story there. There was the book, The Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, that really directed a lot of attention towards Savannah, which then, interestingly enough, in terms of the couple that you're talking about who helped SCAD succeed in using some beautiful buildings, then they ran into problems because Savannah was having so much success. Then they're saying, okay, why are they buying up all these buildings? But that's, again, another good problem to have, because they were really run down previous to that urban renewal that had happened. So really, I think, and the reason I bring that up is it matter what's that buzz that all of you can be part of in terms of looking at how do we generate more and more interest in terms of coming downtown. And have self-fulfilling prophecies in terms of looking at, everything that I've heard is wonderful, and it's consistent with what I've heard from the college in terms of interest in terms of what to do in Trenton and in West Windsor. It's a matter of continue to get those ideas in terms of what kind of spaces we can accommodate those needs. Dr. Perez, I've spent a lot of time with him in terms of extremely responsive to what he's hearing out in the community in terms of trying to accommodate the needs. So it's a matter of continuing to get those ideas generated in terms of what we can do to help you, to help us. Did you have something to say, Mr. Jackson?
Oh, you may have gathered by this point that I have a bounty of things to say, but I'll try to keep it short. The only thing I will throw out there is go big or go home. I don't want to say go home, but I'd just love to see it consider going big, which would be, there's a city block right there that your main building is parked on. Boy, there's some buildings that, the old YWCA building is, I think a hard thing to rehab, a huge number to do that kind of thing. There's, the vacant old insurance building on the corner behind that. I think Orchid House and the front of the Y, and of course the Quaker Meeting you need to protect. But boy, there's a palette there that, your design team could come up with some really exciting innovative ideas to connect up to the city library that's right there, to make that a part of a resource for the students, to build with that and create some real energy for your students in the campus. I just think, that would be a great opportunity. To Ann's point about linking up with Molly and Old First Pres, I think that could be an incredible performance space. Inside that's a very, simple sanctuary space that, could very easily be a non-sectarian space. There's lots of great opportunities to do stuff right in that neighborhood, and others that are doing things. The Smith Family Foundation is working on the old theater on the corner. So there's if we had some real energy coming and a comprehensive approach, I think you'd have people flocking to be a part of it and to pick up those additional buildings that are around and build a greater opportunity. So I'd urge you to go big.
Thank you, sir. Other comments? So lacking that right now, what I want to do, just is respecting everyone's time in terms of appreciating you being here. It's a matter of what's wonderful about this process that Dr. Preston and the leadership at Mercer County have started with us is how transparent it is, and that we want input. And what is another great opportunity is now you're thinking, we're getting great ideas, we're getting energy. To please stay involved in terms of looking at where there's the continue to funnel ideas through Dr. Preston, and also show up when we have we were kicking around some ideas and we were thinking about this, because it would be great to do that together. The greatest compliment we get at Spiesel is when we go through a process like this and all folks like you say, we did this. It wasn't just that Spiesel did it. It was a matter of that collectively that we have come up with great ideas. We use our expertise in terms of looking at how are we catalysts for that, and how does design help reflect it. But really, those great ideas that we get from you all is what makes the plan great. And the plan is a failure if it doesn't get implemented. So it's a matter of looking at getting those ideas, getting us to get some real good ideas down on paper, but then also spreading that word, creating that buzz so that funding is more available, so that more collaborations are available. So please stay involved with the process. Anything, Dr. Preston, that you wanted to add as we close? She is speechless. No.
Rarely am I speechless. No, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everyone's coming to share with us. I think most of you know where to find me. If you think of something that comes to you in the middle of the night, please feel free to shoot me an email and I'll forward that to Bob. We're incredibly excited about this project, and I agree with so much of what was said about making the college look and feel like a college, and making it part of a really vital downtown Trenton. And I'm very optimistic that we're going to come up with good plans, and that we're going to figure out how to pay for them, and we're going to get some momentum.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Preston. And again, thank you to everyone for the time and your input, and I look forward to your continuing involvement.
Good.
Take care.
Thank you. Good night, all.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dr. Preston, for convening.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.